Hey guys and gals, Mark Scala with another Learn to Blog tutorial. Today we're going to be talking about what a lot of people have asked for more information on, and that is setting up the Yoast SEO plugin. Now I'm going to get right into this. I know that most of you, if you're asking for some help with this plugin, you already understand a little bit about how to set up your WordPress, how to install a plugin. So that's where we're going to start. We're going to go into your dashboard once you're logged into your WordPress admin. We're going to go under Appearance, Plugins, Add New, and we're going to search for Yoast, Y-O-A-S-T. It is an excellent SEO plugin, probably one of the most common that is used. And right at the top, here you go, WordPress SEO by Yoast. You can see that I've already got it installed, but for you, it's going to say install now. You'll click it, it will download, and then, like everything else, you'll activate it. As you can see, I've already done that, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to jump into the dashboard real quick. I'm going to reset my default settings so that we can look at everything as if it were a brand new install together. Yoast has already included an absolutely excellent brief tutorial on how to use and set up some of the features. For most of you, take the half an hour to an hour, read what their tutorial is telling you when you first install it. It's going to walk you through what you need to know. For advanced users, we will probably need to include a more advanced video for some of these Yoast options, but we're not going to go into the extremely advanced features of this plugin in this particular video. This is going to be more of a general once over, getting things set up and how it works. So without further ado, the first thing that you're going to see after you install and activate the Yoast plugin is this right here. It's going to ask to help improve WordPress SEO. Personal choice, you can choose to allow it or disallow it. I always want to make sure that when I'm doing something, it is contributing to the greater good. So if you can anonymously track some of the stats on my website and improve the plugin and how things work, I'm okay with that. So I'm going to click allow tracking. Again, personal opinion, it doesn't really affect the plugin, but I'm alright with contributing to the overall good of what Yoast has put together for us, especially since the plugin is free. On the dashboard over here to the left hand side, you're now going to see a new column that is SEO, and dashboard is where we're going to start. This is what you're going to be seeing. It's a little bit about I guess the overall tour for the Yoast plugin. You can see that it auto-populates the newsletter. That's entirely up to you. We're just going ahead and hit next. It's going to take us through this right here. Titles and metas, social, XML, permalinks, and that's exactly what the tutorial is walking through. Take the time, again, to read what this is talking about. If you don't already have a really solid understanding of some of the SEO metrics and what is a title tag and what is a description setting and a description meta tag, again, you'll find the information right here. It's going to tell you how some of the plugin works. We're going to click next, assume that you've read that. Social settings. It's going to let you know this is how you set up your social settings. For the Facebook Open Graph, you can do that as well. Twitter cards, you can do that as well. Remember, that's in beta, so things can change from there for probably the next couple of months. After the social settings, we're going to look at XML sitemaps. Very important part to having your site crawled and archived accurately by the search engine. So pay attention. It tells you how to do what's going on. And again, we can get a little bit more of that later. Permalink settings, right here, very top. All of the options here are for advanced user only. We're going to skip past this in this particular video. If you want to mess with some of the permalink settings and you have questions about it, let us know in the comments. Maybe we can develop another specific video just addressing that issue. But for most, don't worry about it. Next is breadcrumbs. If you have one of the supporting themes for WordPress that supports breadcrumbs, you can make some changes in here. Again, there's an instructional for an external URL link that they've put together for you. RSS settings, if you've got a feed that you want to set up, of course, it's a good idea. How to import and export from a different SEO plugin. Beautiful tool that Yoast decided to include here. And last but not least, SEO file editor. So you're able to edit the HTX access and robot text files. That being said, that's the tutorial. Make sure you take the time. Set half an hour, 20 minutes, whatever it takes for you to read when you're going to start setting this up, and go through those one by one. Read what they're saying to you. There is important information. So starting off, we're going to jump into the dashboard. Again, I allowed tracking just so it helps better the actual plugin. Security, disable the advanced part of the WordPress SEO meta box. I said OK. It says right here, unchecking it, it's a little bit advanced, so don't do it if you don't trust explicitly all of the authors that you've got going on. For the webmaster tools, this is really simple. You're going to put the Google Webmaster tool, Bing Webmaster, and the Alexa verification IDs all in here. If you don't know how to do this, you can easily open this up in another tab, and it's going to take you to your Google Webmaster, so you're going to be able to take care of that. Bing Webmaster, same thing. It's going to take you to another one. If you don't have that, you're going to be able to sign into your account or sign up with sign up for one of them and get that installed. Same for Alexa as well. When you're done, save the settings. Ta-da! Okay, so we're on the titles and metas of the Yoast plugin, and you'll see that there are different tabs up here. We could end up spending an entire video on this particular section, so I am going to try and keep it brief. If you find that you have questions and you need additional information, leave your questions and your comments below, and if it warrants, we can make another video specifically talking about all of the plugin settings for this particular tab, the titles and the metas. Of course, the title settings, force rewrite titles, that's something to help prevent from, if you think you know what you're doing, you can of course take that off, but it's going to help you in the long run, because it's going to help auto detect whether or not there needs to be a title rewritten for that particular page. The site-wide meta settings, it's asking for no indexing of subpages or archives, and that's going to help prevent duplicate content. So example, if you write my blog post, and then you end up making an update, it might have my blog post /2. And what we don't want to do is, of course, we don't want to have any duplicate content, because Google does not like that. So if I were to recommend settings, and it's entirely up to your site and how you want to do things, but I would recommend no indexing the subpages, of course. In regards to the meta keyword tag, I don't want to use those. They're pretty much devalued at the moment in the industry. It even says right here, I don't know why you'd want to use this, but if you want to, you can check the box. I would leave it unchecked. For the add the meta robots tab site-wide and the no Yahoo directory meta robots tag, again, I would, personal preference, you can add them if you want to. Again, to prevent duplicate content, I do not. Cleaning up the header down here, that's what I would recommend. Of course, I don't want to hide the RSS feeds, and this is assuming that I'm the only person logging in. You might need these things depending on how your site is set up and how your users are set up, so keep that in mind. This is just my personal recommendation. If you want some more information on why I came to this decision, of course, feel free to ask. But we don't want to spend 20 minutes just on this particular section. I'd like to get through a little bit more of the entire plugin. So moving on, again, ask questions if you have them. The Home tab is where, of course, you want to hit Save Settings, so we'll do that. And then going to the Home tab, very, very simple. You can determine the title and description for the front page, editing the front page itself. Title and description for the blog page, editing the blog page itself. Very self-explanatory. Moving on to post types. This, believe it or not, is the page where most people decide, you know what, forget it, I'm done. And it's because of this shorthand right here. When you see this, instead of getting frustrated, disoriented, confused, sad, whatever you might feel, I want you to remember that this Help tab gives you all of the answers. Help, replace with the date of the post on the page, replace with the title. It's got all of what the short codes are right here under the Help column. So, under post types, you're going to see a shorthand. Don't get confused, don't get frustrated, and don't throw in the towel. It's really not that difficult. Just go to your Help. You can figure this out, I promise you. So let's look at this. And again, we'll just look at the first one, and you'll be able to figure it out from there. I'm confident in you guys. Posts. How do you want the title template to be? This says title, so let's go over here. We're going to replace with the title of the post or the page. Okay. page, actually it's got page right here, replaced with the current page number, i.e. 204. And then we've got, oops, that's not where we want to go. SEP, that's going to be a separator. I know that because I know that. You'll get used to these two. Separators defining your themes. And then lastly, site name, which, guess what that is? The site's name. If you wanted your posts to show up differently, you can of course delete all of that and say, you know what? I want it to be the title of the post or the page. So I'm going to copy this. I'm hitting Control C, and I'm going to hit Control V. I'm going to use a separator. So we're going to Control C, go back up here, Control V, there's my separator. And then I'm going to use the site's tagline or description. No, let's use the site's name. That's too much highlighting. Site's name, Control C, Control V, and that's how I want it to look. Meta description template, that's what we're going to use. The site's tagline or description. If you don't know what your site's tagline or description is, you wrote it. At least I hope you wrote it. You're not using the default. And you can find it under Settings, General, I believe. Site title, tagline. See? Settings, General, that's where you're going to find this information. We're going to go back to SEO, titles, and metas. We're going to go back to post types, title, page, separator, site name, because I didn't save the changes, and the meta description template. Again, these are templates, so this is how it's going to be naming both the post's titles, post descriptions, meta robots, authorship, snippets, WordPress SEO meta box. Those are all things that personal preference. You can toggle any way that you want. And again, they let you do this not with just posts, but pages, media elements. You've got some other options. Portfolio, if you got it for your site, FAQs, sliders. Some of these options that are coming down here are very dependent on what theme you're running in WordPress. So if you don't see all of these options, don't think that there's something wrong with the Yoast plugin. That is based on what theme you're running, and of course it's going off of what theme I'm running. Custom post types, you've got your portfolio, FAQs, or at least I do, and of course you can change exactly the same in here. Guys, I'm trying to be brief, so that gives you your walkthrough. Don't be intimidated by this. This is where most people will stop setting up the Yoast WordPress SEO. It's very, very simple. Think about what you want. All of the shortcodes are under help. And if you have any questions, of course, leave them below the video. I'll be more than happy to do a specific tutorial on this if you'd like. Taxonomies. This is another area where people get a little bit confused. So let's talk about this. You've got categories, tags, format. Actually, let's just talk about categories and tags at the moment before we get into the format. Depending on how you set up your blog and whether or not your site, whether or not you're blogging and making posts, or you're putting everything into a page, or you're doing an amalgamation of both, it's going to depend on really how you set this up. So most of the time you'll have categories for which you're writing different pieces for, and you'll be using tags for each one of those categories. You don't want to, again, we mentioned this before, have duplicate content. So if you write a post, let's say that, website, I'm going to write an amazing post, and that's the name of it. We don't want an amazing post to appear in my categories, also appear under different tags, and appear in my archives, and then appear under my authorship because I'm the one that wrote it. What we've got is we've got a risk of having the same post, an amazing post, appearing numerous places under my site by no fault of our own. It's just how WordPress works. And then Google is suddenly seeing duplicate content. We'd have a problem there. So whatever your emphasis might be, I would recommend, if you're more emphasized on categories or tags when you're doing your searches and your classifications, I would recommend taking the other one and no following it or no indexing it. That's just my personal recommendation, you can do whichever you please and see fit, but I'd be cautious about getting duplicate content in abundance on your site because we know that's not going to help your SEO. Again, format the title template. You can change it here. Short codes are same place. It hasn't changed. You can set that up any way you see fit. The same for the format. Categories as well. The skills, if you're going to use them. These are all areas that they're going to change based on what plugin you have. Some of these are populated because of, I'm sorry, not plugin, but theme. Some of these are populated because of the theme that I'm using. You might not see them in yours. If you have questions, please leave them below. I would be more than happy, if I have to, make another video tutorial just about the taxonomies. But that gives you the basic overview. What we want to make sure is we're setting up the templates correctly, the same as we did in the posts, and we're choosing one of these so that we've got a focus classification and how people are going to be searching and how we're going to be indexing all of our posts and pages. And after that, we're not creating duplicate content for the search engines. Last tab for this section is Other. All right, Author Archives, Data Archives, and then Special Pages, where you got your search pages and your 404. 404, really easy. Since we're here, we'll talk about it. Page not found, separator, site name. All right, easy enough. Search pages, you search for blank, page, separator. All right, there we go. Data archives, I cannot recommend enough. I'd no index, no follow them, simply because I don't necessarily think that anyone's going to, for my site, be searching by date. I don't know that your site's going to have enough volume that you've got 40 pages or 40 posts or pages created in a single day where people are going to search specifically by day. It might happen. My recommendation is most of you will not, so it's going to be a no index, no follow. You can change the template if you'd like to, also the description template. And the same for the author archives. I don't have very many people, if any, on this particular site, which is my own, guest authoring and writing posts or pages. Perhaps I should, but since I don't, again, my personal preference is I don't think anyone's going to be searching by authors, so I would, of course, no index, no follow any author archives, so there's not creating duplicate content. Guys, that was a really fast fly through for just the titles and the metas. Let's jump into the social. The social, follow the instructions. It's really easy to set up. What we're doing here is we're linking your Facebook URL. You've got some prompts here. If you have any questions, of course, there is a help section. Save your changes when you're done. Right here, you've got a little pop out. You can open a new tab and read about that. XML sitemaps. Again, you can find it clicking here. If you want to disable it, all right, you can. That's the author or the user sitemap. You've got some general settings here. Exclude post types. If there's something specific you want to exclude, by all means. Exclude certain taxonomies. And then you can either set up the number of entries per page. Permalinks. Do me a favor. Try and leave permalinks alone. That's a little bit more of an advanced area, and I wouldn't recommend it if you have a lot of questions and this is absolutely something that you cannot leave alone. Leave your questions, let us know. We'll walk you through some of the advanced aspects of that. The breadcrumbs, again, this is going to depend on what theme you've got installed and whether or not it supports breadcrumbs. For most of you, it's something that I would move past this. The low-hanging fruit for SEO is going to be taken care of in the initial part of what we went over, the titles and metas, the social, and what you can set up over your dashboard. The sitemap is obviously a key cornerstone in making sure that we've got all of your pages indexed in each one of the search engines. The permalinks we're going to skip. The internal links, again, if you'd like to, leave some feedback and we'll make a tutorial for this, because I could probably spend a cool 10 minutes going over what it is that we'd be setting up for each one of these in regards to the breadcrumbs. RSS you should all be familiar with. It's exactly that. It's gold. You want people to be able to tap into the data that you're leaving in regards to your site with your posts. So you've got, well, y'all should know how to do this. If you have questions, leave it. Import export. If you're already using an SEO tool, they leave the ability to import and export data from specifically there. You've got information that you click on here. Follow the instructions, you'll be fine. And then last is editing the files. This is for those of you that are extraordinarily advanced. I would I would be cautious. You can gain a lot of ground by making some changes to this, but you're basically rewriting code of the site. So when you do so, if you make a mistake, you risk everything not working. If you're not savvy enough to be doing the editing of the HTML access files, then I'm sorry, the HD access file, then don't. If you do, there's nothing in this tutorial I'll be able to teach you on what it is that you should be doing there. So guys, I know that I tried to crash course our way through the Yoast plugin. You can see that there's a ton of customizing, versatility, and a tremendous amount of benefit from this particular plugin, especially considering the fact that it's free. I hope that this gives you a nice, easy walkthrough. It's going to take some time getting all of this dialed in appropriately. I would recommend the first time you sit down and go through this, allow yourself a couple hours to at least just touch on some of the basics. You're not going to get everything right. You might make some changes, but it will definitely put you on the right track. If you find some reoccurring questions or there's a specific point that you get caught in, let us know. Leave a comment, leave a message, shoot an email. We'll be happy to try and walk you through and help you out the best that we can so that you're not stuck. If you get frustrated and you need something explained in far more nauseating detail, again, let us know. More than happy to. What I didn't want to bombard you with is a 45-minute to an hour and a half video about a plugin when you don't want to go through that much information initially. I hope that this has helped all of you guys understand what the plugin's about and a little bit of how I get it set up and dialed in. If you have any questions, I'm looking forward to interacting with you on how we can make the video better or add to it. Thanks and have a great day. Titles and meta. Now, there's a lot of tabs under this particular setting. This might be where some of you stop at prior SEO knowledge, and that's fine. General, it's the big once over. Force rewrite, that's basically letting you know that the WordPress SEO auto detects whether it needs to force rewrite the titles for your pages. If you really think that you know what you're doing, you can uncheck that box. For most of you, I would recommend having it checked because it's there to help you optimize your titles. Site-wide meta settings, you can do these. These are a little bit more advanced, but of course, no index subpages of archives. So, example, if you want to prevent /page2 further any day, go ahead and enable it. Meta keywords tags. It actually says, I don't know why you'd want to use meta keywords, but if you want to, check the box. Most people don't anymore. There's no real benefit to it, so I'd leave it unchecked. This is questionable. To add the NoDP meta robots tag site-wide, it does prevent search engines from using DMOZ description for pages on the site and search results. Personal preference. You can add the DIR meta robot tag site-wide. It will prevent search engines from using the Yahoo directory, and that's basically what it is. And then you can clean up the header by hiding the RSD, WLW, short links, and RSS links. Again, personal preference. I don't know that there's a tremendous benefit for doing it, but if you want to, then by all means. I think that cleaning up the head will and possibly can have some impact on load time. So that's something that, again, I've heard feedback from. It's entirely up to you. Home is exactly what we're talking about. Determine title and description for the front page, editing the front page all by itself. And a blog page by editing the blog page all by itself. You can go into post types here. You can have a title template, exactly how it's titling. Description template, and these are exactly that. They're templates for how the descriptions come up. Of course, you can choose whether you're going to activate any of these or not. Is it a no-show link? Is it a no-follow? Pages, a title for the pages, description for the pages, and again, these are templates. Media in regards to any embedded media you might have, and then options for your portfolio, FAQs, if you've got a slider, and then you've got some custom post types that you can again set templates in. I'd like to get into this, but this is going to be something that we can spend enough time in that it might warrant a video all by itself. So for the meantime, we're going to say that this is where you set up the templates that are going to affect the rest of the site and how these things are orchestrated. You can see, just to kind of jump into a real brief overview of it, how you've got the title specified here, and that's going to, of course, pull from the title. You've got page. Not entirely sure what SEP is referring to here, but it's another section of how they're naming the pages, and then of course the site name as well. So this doesn't have to be the format that we follow. You can make a different format, and again, we can get into the more specifics of that in another video. To show you an example specifically, let's go ahead and jump in and do one now. And then again, we'll go into the details a little bit later if you leave some feedback and are interested.